Welcome back to the Cinema Hounds 2026 Oscars train. This stop is Animation Station. I recommend starting with the first official in the series was David and I and our reactions to the nominees this year with a preview of the 10 Best Picture nominees and just talk about all the surprises and biggest races and other stats. And I've also since dedicated episodes to the shorts categories, to production design, costumes, makeup and hair together, to international film, and to documentary features, not to mention the Indie Spirits and BAFTA Awards. And today is the animated features category, where I am joined by Logan, who was previously my guest on the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes episode and last year's Tech Awards discussion during the Oscars. He is back this year to discuss his favorite category, animated features, and then stick around until the end for a preview of what's coming up next. And final general note, we will, as usual, be talking movie premises and production, but we will be avoiding film spoilers. All right, let's jump in. And I'm here now with Logan. Welcome back. I think we're just discussing, I think this is your third Lorehounds episode after Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and last year we talked about the tech categories for the Oscars series.
Yeah, I believe this is round 3, but I'm glad to be back.
Fight!
I know this is going to be a fun one because I am a huge animation guy.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to invite you for this one, because you were talking, especially in our coverage last year, about how animation is really your favorite category. Do you want to expand on that? What is your background and history with animation in general?
Honestly, I don't really know. I think it's just from a lot of, as a kid, we had a lot of like Disney VHSs at the time. Watched a lot of those as a kid constantly. And then Aladdin is one of my favorite films of all time. And of course watched the straight to DVDs, and Robin Williams was big there, so I got into Robots, which was the 2005 from Blue Sky.
Right.
And then from there, I mean, I just watched a lot of animated stuff for a long time, and then my brother, he's a good chunk younger than me, I ended up watching a lot of the same things with him when he was a toddler. And I have just been a huge fan for a very long time now.
All right. How is your death race going overall this year?
I was doing okay, and then I have had a pretty busy couple weeks. I'm sitting at 38 out of 50. So I got 12 left in the next week and a half. Spoiler into when we're recording.
All right. Yeah. No, actually, this is going to be one of the rare episodes that I turn around right away in this series. So it's going out the day after we record, which hasn't been the case for most of them, but it just works out for various reasons that way. But yeah, we are here to talk about Best Animated Feature. And this has been a category since 2002. And because before that, they thought that there were, quote unquote, too few significant animated features to justify more than just giving the occasional special awards. So they did give special awards to things like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1938, which really kicked off the whole Disney animation thing. Special things like Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1989 or Toy Story in 1996. But then it was really, and there had been, by the way, one animated feature up to that time that had been nominated for Best Picture, which was Beauty and the Beast in 1991. But then, as they got to the turn in the millennium, they're like, actually, there's more animation studios entering the scene, making a lot of noise, making it worthwhile having a competition. So it's not just the Disney show. For example, DreamWorks, which was in some ways a child of Disney because it was started by people who left Disney. But yeah, were you surprised? I don't know if you remember before, because you're younger than me. I don't know if you remember before the animated feature was a category.
I'm going to say something that's going to hurt you, but I
Oh
was born
no.
in 2000, so
So absolutely not.
I really don't remember anything. Like, it's just always kind of been a thing for me. But
Mm-hmm.
ever since I've been doing the ODR, which this is year 5 for
Which is
me,
Oscar's death race for anyone who doesn't
Oscar's
speak the
death race,
language.
yes. um, I've been doing the ODR. Yeah, I think this is year 5 for me. Um, and being such a huge animation fan, so like I've always kind of followed that category, even if I wasn't doing the whole race.
Right.
Um, I believe there's still only, and this is a huge gap in my own knowledge, I think there's only one of the best animated winners I haven't seen, and that's Rango.
Oh, really? Okay. That's a good one.
It's such a random one. It's been sitting on
Yeah.
my shelf. I have like a Blu-ray of it, I think. I just haven't gotten to it. Don't know why.
All right. I think you'll enjoy it. I suspect you will like it.
Probably.
Um, so yeah, since 2002, the definitions and rules and stuff have gone under some slight shifts, but the way that they currently sit for this category is the Academy definition of animation is that characters' performances are created using a frame by frame technique. So this was defined this way specifically to exclude things that are solely motion capture. Motion capture by itself is not an animation technique. They need to go after and kind of tweak that. And I think this is in response in large part to things like A Christmas Carol from 2009, the Robert Zemeckis take on that film with Jim Carrey that Luke and I did an in-depth review of it on the Woolshift Dust feed recently, and I'll just say we were not impressed by the animation because it was they're just like, oh, just motion capture and then slap it on the screen and that'll be good. And no, it's
Correct.
not.
It feels too much. I mean, it's how they make video games nowadays, and it just feels like a video game cutscene.
Yeah, that's what we were saying because it's just so floaty. And for video games, I understand because you can't,
Hmm.
because it's determined by the player. You can't, strictly, snappily animate every single screen of a video game. But a movie, you can and you should.
Yeah.
But also, this definition is designed to rule out films like Avatar, for example. So that is definitely live action, although it's mostly CGI. Um, So the rules for the Academy has to be frame by frame animation. A significant number of the major characters must be animated, and animation figures must figure in no less than 75% of the running time. So it doesn't rule out hybrids between live action and animation, but it needs to be heavily animated. So I guess Roger Rabbit would qualify.
Roger Rabbit would. Marcel the Shell a couple years ago was
Right.
nominated, and
That was a
that one
questionable one.
counted.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because it's stop motion with live action stuff in it. Yeah.
yes, versus just pure stop motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, yeah, that qualified. Although that was definitely a borderline case. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very close. I remember they actually had to release the numbers to prove that
Right.
it was like 76%. Like, it was very
Okay.
close.
Just over the line. Yeah. Because it did feel very live action to me. Hot take. I don't love that film. I know most
See,
people
I
do.
did, but
Yeah, I know. Most people do. My sister loves it.
that's, yeah, I enjoyed it. I can totally understand why people don't, though.
Yeah. It just the humor didn't hook with me. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's not one of the ones this year. So yeah, the award is given out since 2019 to a maximum of 4 people, unless there's a 2-person team included, and it must include the director and a producer. So that's what we'll see as we're listing that today. We'll see mostly it's a combination of directors and producers who are nominated. And yeah, this year they also have to submit the movie, and we'll talk a bit later about some movies that might have been eligible this year, would have been eligible this year, but were not submitted for whatever reason. So this year, 35 features were deemed eligible, which sounds like a lot, but it's also actually not that many. Like when you compare it to the list of docs available or
Not at
um,
all.
international films available, it's quite a small list, to be honest.
And it's crazy because there's so many other animated films, but one of the big things that takes them all out of eligibility is that they don't run in theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about some cases like that of some bigger films this year. But I will make a letterbox list of the 35 eligible features, which you can find linked in the show notes if you're curious to see the rest. It will include, most of the ones we talk about today, but we'll also talk about some that aren't eligible. So I'll just put those in the show notes, the ones that we actually discussed today. The way that they determine the nominees is that members of the animation branch, they can vote in the category, but they can also have members of the academy outside the animation branch. They can opt in to vote for this category if they meet a minimum viewing requirement. And we heard this year that there's no short list for this category, but apparently there is a secret for your consideration list of reportedly 12 films, but we don't know what the 12 films were. So the five that were nominated, definitely included in those 12 films, no question. But we'll speculate at the end what the other 7 films might have been. Sound good?
Fine by me. That list is a huge question mark. I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Release the list. And I did discuss the animated shorts in a separate episode about the shorts nominees, so you'll see a link to that in the show notes. But I'll check in with you, Logan, at the end of this to see if you have any thoughts about these you want to share.
Okay.
This year are 5 nominees. Well, 4 of them are single category nominees, and the one exception is K-pop Demon Hunters, which was also nominated for song. So I talked about that more in. Actually, it'll be the next episode that Mark and I did talking about the music categories. So I'll refer to that for some more details if you want to hear more about K-pop Demon Hunters. But in general, for these, as usual, we're going to discuss premises and production and opinions, but we're going to avoid any spoilers for the films. I won't assume that you've seen them all. What with those terms in mind, what are your overall thoughts on this year's 5 nominees? Were there any surprises for you?
I actually think this is the first year, at least since I've been doing the ODR, that I'm genuinely not surprised on any of the noms. I think the
No.
5 that were nominated were the 5 that pretty much everybody's predicted all season.
Yeah, absolutely.
These 5 just clearly dominated and took over at least the conversation.
Right. Yeah, we'll talk about some more at the end where we thought, oh, maybe they'll zag, but they did not zag. They zigged. All right, let's start with the most obvious of the nominees, the likely winner, the juggernaut of this year in cinema overall, K-pop Demon Hunters, directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans. It's a U.S. film from Sony and released by Netflix in English mostly, with some Korean. The nominees are the directors Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans, along with producer Michelle L.M. Wong, and it's the first nomination for all of them. And the plot summary is: they sing, they dance, they battle demons. When K-pop superstars Rumi, Mira, and Zoe aren't selling out stadiums, they're using their secret powers to protect their fans from supernatural threats. And I said in the recording of the music episode, which is coming out next but has already been made, that this title is like a marketer's dream. It just describes exactly what you're getting in the tin.
Yeah, it is. It is exactly what it is. The title gives everything you could need.
So I did talk about this, as I said, in the music episode, which comes next, where we talk about specifically the original song nominee Golden, which is also a likely winner there. So I included some more stats there. I won't repeat here, but I'll just say this is the most watched original title in Netflix history with over 500 million views. It had a budget of 100 million. Box office was only 24.7 million, but to be honest, that was more money than they expected because they basically released it in theaters. Like they did a qualifying run for the Oscars, famously did not do that in Britain for the BAFTAs, and that's why they weren't nominated there. But they basically they did these sing-along releases in the theaters after the fact because they're like, oh wow, people really like this movie, huh? So because Netflix is the way Netflix is, yeah, they're not trying to get their money out of the box office, yet still its theater release was the widest theater release in terms of number of theaters for a Netflix film ever, and the first to top the box office in the US. So it is still their most successful theater release. On Netflix itself in 2025, so not even counting the first 3 months of this year, it garnered 20.5 billion minutes of watch time, making it the most streamed film of the year, not only on Netflix, but overall, and on any platform. And the soundtrack was the first film soundtrack to have 4 songs in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100 simultaneously, and it was certified double platinum in the US in October. So I mean, what are your thoughts on this film overall, on the soundtrack, on Golden and everything else?
I am a huge fan of this one. It is, if I'm voting, this is by choice. I'm gonna just say that now. I think it's very heavily leaning that way for most voters.
Mm-hmm.
It made my top 10 last year. It is genuinely just a fun time. It's good. It's got a good message. It keeps a decent balance between the kid friendly and adult humor side of things, which I feel like a lot of animation really struggles to do. I don't know, everything that comes with this has been very impressive. I mean, all the soundtrack stuff hitting the way it has, having 4 songs in the top 10 is genuinely crazy. And like, I'm a teacher. I, throw on music now and then when people are working, whatever. And it's kind of ridiculous how often Golden will pop up. It's probably every time I turn it on. Whereas other like very popular songs don't.
Yeah.
So it's clearly having a huge influence on at least the social aspects of life.
Yeah. I mean, Mark and I were talking about in the music episode, which again, it's the next one, that we don't even necessarily agree that Golden is the best of the bunch, but it is definitely the most ubiquitous. And this overall, like everyone who has a child who's like in like a preteen child has been listening to this movie nonstop, to the soundtrack nonstop. It's just been an absolute cultural force this year. Just one of the biggest things to happen this year. So I think it absolutely is going to win. It would be my third choice pick, I guess. So we'll talk about what I would pick first. I do think, like, I like the message of empowerment. I like the message that it's about accepting yourself, flaws and all. I like that they're like, how do we have these central 3 female characters, but let's let them be weird and goofy and like not pretend they're perfect princesses all the time. And like they use these chibi animation features, which we'll talk a little bit about anime later on. But just sort of instead of having the more realistic faces, they'll sometimes revert to these more cartoonish faces with some expressive. Like one of my one of the moments that made me like, what the fuck are we looking at? Is one of them looks at a character with like an 8-pack abs and her eyes turn into abs like where they're like crying popcorn or
So funny. I love GB animation. It's always it's so like stupid, but in like a fun, cheesy way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's expressive, in a fun way.
Very expressive, yeah.
And I'll say the voice cast was not known at all going into this, although now they've been making the interview rounds. So they are known for this. Yes, there is a sequel in the works, so we'll be hearing more from them. And this has just been destroying the precursor awards. It's won 53 awards so far, which is insane, including the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, Annie Awards, PGA, and Art Directors Guild. And it's gotten 6 more honor, it's been honored 6 more times. It's only missed 10 times, which would be a lot for someone else, but compared to that, 53 wins. And then there's 2 pending awards, including the Oscars. And of course, it didn't win the BAFTAs because it was not eligible.
Yeah, I think that was. I mean, they're clearly sweeping the awards. I don't think they care that much that they don't have the BAFTA, but I think it was very dumb of them because they could have just released it in theaters for a couple weeks, made more money, and
1 week would have been enough.
Qualified for the BAFTAs. It was such an easy layup, and they just fumbled it so hard.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of places in the industry are pushing back on Netflix's no theater policy, and I was kind of glad to see it. I was kind of glad to see another one get a chance to win. We'll talk about that other one next. But yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why Netflix take the money. Like, you don't even have to release it that long. Just take the money and then put it on your platform.
Even if it was a 30-day window, like it's
you're
still
gonna
short,
make more money.
but like you can make a little extra cash.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Yeah. I've never understood their policy on it. Like I understand what they think they're doing, but I truly just don't think it ever plays the way they want it to.
I feel the same way about their binge drop policy for TV shows. So apparently I'm just not in the Netflix mindset, but I don't think it's good for them. And I don't think it's good for audiences, and people who are so impatient can learn to wait a few weeks.
Yeah. I think that's one of the, like, I feel like I hear it a lot that people don't like necessarily watch the binge drops anymore, and they actually just watch an episode at a time because they don't have the attention span to sit there and watch an 8-episode season in one sitting.
Yeah, fair.
And so they just watch them one at a time, and I'm like, yeah, that's like how it should have just been released. Yeah.
And then people can talk about it and drum up social media. Anyway, I'm a broken record on this.
That did happen with K-pop. That did become a huge
It's easier
thing.
with movies to do that because, like, with TV shows, it becomes more difficult because you're like, oh, well, where are you in the season?
Yes.
And and then by the time you catch up, everyone else is done.
This one was very much, I don't know. I don't know how this is elsewhere, but here in the States, like, K-pop has always had like a very strong following. And so, like, it wasn't surprising to see it become a central focus of this film, and the film to do well with it. But like, it's not a film that really Americanized. Like, it did a little, but not like, it didn't like super whitewash it. Like, it kept it very Korean and like very much stuck to the roots. Like, I was a little worried going in that it was going to be a little too much, and then it proved to be very, very much still Korean.
Yeah, very Korean American. It is funny too. They're Korean American creators, although one of the directors is a white guy from the Midwest who's married to a Korean American woman. But so it was funny to hear them in like the behind the scenes. Like, we just want to show Korean culture to people. I'm like, okay, as someone who watches like a dozen Korean films a year, regardless, I'm like, you know what really communicates Korean culture? Korean films. But I understand this is like a gateway drug for younger kids, especially, and for a lot of people who are afraid of subtitles.
Oh, 100%. Like, it very much is a nice jump-in point for those who aren't comfortable.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I quite like this film. I am like, the only reason why I'm like, oh, let another film win is because I just get bored when the same thing wins everything.
That's totally fair because it always ends up happening.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, like, I'm glad this film exists. I think it's communicating a great message to younger audiences, and it's entertaining. It's well made, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
I am as well. I'm glad that they're not rushing it. It seems like everything that's been shared about it, which has mostly been coming from director Maggie Kang, like she has very blatantly said, we are not rushing this. We're going to take our time. We're still going to make it worth what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you want to see it for yourself, it is easy to watch. It's on Netflix, and it's only an hour and 36 minutes. So I've watched it twice now. I rewatched it recently because I realized I watched it so long ago. One of the animals from it was nominated in the animal branch of, the Academy of
Yep.
Death Racers. And I didn't remember the animal, so I rewatched it. I was like, "Oh yeah. No, that was great. That was great. I was totally gonna nominate that animal when I first saw it 5 months ago
Yeah,
or whatever."
I may or may not have been one of the ones behind the scenes very much pushing for Derpy to be nominated. I
Well,
love that
Derpy's on
stupid
the
little
list.
tiger.
Oh, any final thoughts about K-pop Demon Hunters?
No, I think we kind of hit all there is to hit.
All right. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the other two biggest commercial films of the year. Be right back. Okay, so we're back and we're going from the biggest cultural juggernaut into the biggest financial juggernaut of the year. That is Zootopia, or if you live in Europe, Zootropolis 2, so the sequel. This is directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard. It's an American film from Walt Disney Animation and in English. And so the directors, Jared Bush and Byron Howard, are the nominees, along with producer Yvette Marino. For Bush, this is his second nomination. He won for Encanto a few years ago. And he was also the co director on the first Zootopia, by the way, but that meant he was outside of the nomination categories. There was two directors, and then he was co-director, like third place, so he wasn't included in nominations. So that's why he poor guy, only has one Oscar so far. Howard, Byron Howard, this is his fourth nomination after Bolt, Zootopia, and Encanto, and he did win for both Zootopia and Encanto. And the producer, Yvette Marino, second nomination, won again for Encanto. So the plot of this one is Zootopia will be changed forever, like furry. Anyway, after cracking the biggest case in Zootopia's history, rookie cops Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde find themselves on the twisting trail of a great mystery when Gary the Snake arrives and turns the animal metropolis upside down. To crack the case, Judy and Nick must go undercover to unexpected new parts of town where their growing partnership is tested like never before. So what are your general thoughts on Zootopia 2?
I really enjoyed it. Zootopia 1 is very good as well. But this one, like, it doesn't hesitate. It picks pretty much right off where you would expect it to. If you're a nerd like me and also watch the show, it does incorporate some of the funny little gags from the brief show that exists. But it's very enjoyable. There's a good story to it. I love how they finally brought in the reptiles.
Hmm.
I mean, Kihoi Kwan is a treasure. Anytime he can do anything, I'm usually staring at the screen and cheesing. He is just so infectious, and he always was. I say as an Indiana Jones fan who loved him when he was a kid. But like him bringing the snake to life while Bateman and Goodwin return, like it's just a good trio that work very well together. And I think they are truly the reason it is as good as it is. They bring a lot of heart to it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll be honest. This for me got like a kind of. I think I gave it 3 stars out of 5. Um, so I liked it okay. I didn't connect with the humor as much as it seems like other people have, and that for me just kind of undermined the film and made it a bit less memorable to me. But as you were saying, the cast is great. Like, so Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman are the core duo, but then we have probably the most important addition this time is Ke Huy Quan, a definitely someone this podcast in general is a fan of, as Gary the Snake. So that was definitely my favorite addition in this. Love him and everything, and just yeah, the backup cast is ridiculous. Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, Idris Elba, Shakira, of course, as Gazelle, and they even had, this is crazy, Bob Iger played Bob Tiger, a tiger weatherman, by Bob Iger being the CEO of Disney. So they just really they just pulled out all the stops for this one.
I mean, they did it with the first one too. I think it's so funny that they just get celebrities to come in and voice people that are very similar to them. Like Michael J. Fox came in and played Michael J. the Fox. Like Ed Sheeran did a character named Ed Sheeran. I don't remember what I think it was a sheep.
Yeah, a sheep. Yeah.
There's so many that are just so funny. And you can clearly tell it's people doing it because they just think it's fun to do.
Right. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. We have Quinta Brunson, we have Danny Trejo. I don't even have time to list all of the celebrities.
No.
Alan Tudyk plays a whole bunch of different characters. Macaulay Culkin's in there. Like, what? It's crazy.
Yes. John Leguizamo, I know, is in it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tommy Chong even.
Josh Gad has a small role. He's one of the mole cops.
I'm sorry, but he's lost inside of Doorman. Sorry, never mind. Different show.
Yeah, I think The Rock was in it too. I think he did a voice. I don't even know. There's just what celebrity wasn't in Zootopia too? Like so many of the big names. Patrick Warburton coming back. I love him.
I mean, I suppose it's easy enough for them to just be like, do you want to come into the studio and record some lines for a day and be part of the next big Disney movie? Like, yeah, I mean, Zootopia 2. I like Zootopia 1.
even if they don't, like, I don't know, even if it's not like they're getting paid, I'm sure a bunch of people just did it for free because it was fun. Like, I don't know. I feel like I would just do that because, like, why the heck not?
I'm sure they were paid.
I'm sure, but I think even if they were like, just give me a line, I'll mess around.
But the payment's justified because they spent $150 million on the film, but then they made $1.86 billion from this film. So that makes this the second highest grossing animated film of all time and the ninth highest grossing film of all time. And the second highest grossing film overall from 2025, and the highest grossing American produced animated film of all time. So I'll say I said the second highest grossing animated film of all time and the second highest grossing film of 2025. There is one animated film that is the first in both of those categories, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll address that. It was not eligible for an Oscar, but Neja 2. But this 1.86 billion, definitely like easily the biggest box office success of this bunch. I would be predicting this if not for the cultural impact of K-pop Demon Hunters.
I completely agree. I didn't think Zootopia 2 would take off the way it did, but I know it did okay in US worldwide box office, but like I know it really took off in Asia, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it until a couple weeks after it had been out, and then I think that was around Thanksgiving here for us. And so I think a lot of people had time off work and finally went and saw it, and they were all like, "Oh, this was great."
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's going to eventually be on Disney Plus, but right now it's available on video on demand, so you can rent it on through Prime or Apple or whatever you rent through. It's an hour and 48 minutes long. I think when it hits Disney Plus, we're going to get a bubble of people talking about it again.
I think so too. That happens with everything that ends up doing okay, like even if it does really well in theaters and then it ends up on Disney Plus, and then suddenly it has a huge resurgence. I mean, it happens with every MCU film that comes out
Yeah.
and ends up on Disney. Like,
Yeah.
it
As
gets
soon
talked
as
about
people.
again.
Mhm. Yeah, and you can see, like, on Letterboxd, there's suddenly a resurgence of people logging it and
Oh,
things.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this one, it won 7 awards. It's been honored 3 additional times. It did win the BAFTAs, but again, that's because I don't wanna say it's because K-pop Demon Hunters wasn't eligible for the BAFTAs, but it was because K-pop Demon Hunters wasn't eligible for the BAFTAs.
Probably.
Um, it's missed 23 times. Guess which won those awards? And it has still 4 awards pending, including the Oscars. But I think it's just people are going to be happy to have this on the list to remember. Oh yeah, that's the year Zootopia 2 came out. That did pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah, which is crazy considering that box office.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I mean, to be honest, to me, like I think it was a charming film, but I don't think it was the most memorable story.
No, the story definitely was one of the weaker ones, but I don't know. I still really enjoyed it. Um, I don't think it's perfect by any means.
Hmm.
And I do think I'm starting to hit the bubble of, oh, that humor is a little too childish. Um, but I don't know. It's fun. It's nothing fancy, and I'd watch it again.
I did watch the Zootopia Plus series on Disney Plus, which is just like I forget it's like maybe 6 episodes. They're
I
quite
think it's
like,
I think it's 6. Yeah.
and they're like 10-minute episodes, maybe if that less. I think even like
I
10
yeah.
minutes with credits.
It's probably less than an hour total.
Yeah. Yeah, and so each of those that one was released after the first film, so each of those episodes goes, like, down like a character that was introduced in the first film, you follow that character down a side path of something else that's happening during the same time as the first movie. I actually like that series better than this film.
I have not watched it since it came out, so I don't even
Okay.
want to
I mean, I'll
say
shout out
that.
particularly the Godfather-like mole episode. That was the best one, I
Oh my
think.
goodness. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that one. But yes,
Hmm.
that is a very fun episode because he really, I mean, it really plays into the Godfather parody.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was well done, like, you got his whole backstory and, yeah,
Yeah.
just created a whole little world.
God, I actually completely forgot about that until you just mentioned it.
Did you have any final thoughts about Zootopia 2?
I don't think so. I think we kind of hit everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is I don't have as much to say about it, but I actually have I think I prefer the next one we're gonna talk about, which is this is the Pixar entry this year, Elio? How do you say it?
Elio.
Elio. Um, so this, yeah, it's in English. It's directed by Madeline Sharafian, Domi Shi, and Adrian Molina. And yeah, so those are the 3 nominees, plus producer Mary Alice Drum. And so this is Sharafian's second nomination after the short Burrow from 2021, which I almost forgot about, but it was super charming. It's she's third nomination after the short Bow from 2019, which won that year, and Turning Red, the feature from 2021. And it's Molina's first nomination, but he also co-wrote and co-directed Coco. And so Adrian Molina was actually the creator of Elio. Basically, Molina conceived the story about like childhood and social isolation, inspired by growing up in a military base and eventually enrolling at the California Institute of the Arts. So it's interesting to read this movie as like an abstract analogy of, or um, how do you say that? Yeah,
I'm not sure.
metaphor for that experience, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's the closest.
But then Molina ended up leaving the production midway to work on Coco 2. And then that's when Sharafian and she took over and replaced Molina as director. So the setup for the story is it is about they asked for our leader. They got him. Elio, a space fanatic with an active imagination, finds himself on a cosmic misadventure where he must form new bonds with eccentric alien life forms, navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions, and somehow discover who he's truly meant to be. So, what did you think of Elio overall?
I still really enjoyed this one. I mean, it's Pixar. It's really hard to disappoint. I mean, there's some, of course, I adore, and there's some that are lower tier, but Pixar is pretty much always going to be good,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not like anything phenomenal. Um, it's been a minute since I've seen this one. I watched it over the summer back when it first released, and I have not rewatched it since. But I mean, it was in production for what felt like forever.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the first trailer for it back in like 2023, and it took like 2 years to release after that. It was teased for a very, very long time by Disney. So I think the hype kind of added to me enjoying it a little more.
Mm.
I don't know.
Well, I think there's also this narrative about the fact that it's an original. It's not a sequel or part of a franchise. It's here's an original story, and there was a sort of pressure like if you want original animated films, go out and support this film.
Yeah.
And I have to say, this did well on normal terms, and it got 154 million at the box office, which is a lot of money. Except that the budget was 150 to 200 million. So, obviously, it's still made money, more money that's not reported in this box office report from things like video on demand, but definitely not nearly as much as what Zootopia 2 made. So, what lesson is Disney going to take from this is obviously keep making and remaking the same stories, which is unfortunate.
However, I do think Hoppers is in theaters right now.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that they also realize, oh, hey, another original story. And it seems like Hoppers is doing pretty well at the box office already. So
All right. I
maybe
hope
the
so.
combo of Hoppers and Elio together will lead them to make better decisions. I shouldn't
I
say
mean,
better.
yeah.
I do enjoy the sequels, but
Hopper was considered the next great hope for Pixar's original storytelling. I haven't seen it yet. I've just been too busy with this Oscar stuff, so I'm looking forward to. I'm definitely going to see it while it's still in theaters. So I'm very curious to see what I think of it as a film, but I'm glad to hear. I hope it does has a better box office than Leo for the sake of future original storytelling.
I completely agree.
I mean, I'll say this one also has obviously there's A-listers in the cast. It's not quite as ridiculously stacked as Zootopia 2, which at times turned into a cameo fest.
Hmm.
Um, this one, the two main characters are young kids, so they're not known. Jonas Kiebreb and Remy Edgerly. They were fantastic as the two main characters, Elio and Glorden. Um, Obviously, they're not going to be name draws, but I think for me, it's more important than you just get people who can do the job well. But anyway, yeah. So they're kids. We don't know them, but we still have lots of other people in the cast we do recognize, like Zoe Saldana, Brad Garrett, Jamila Jamil. Yeah, it's a shallower cast, but I preferred this. I found it more inventive. I do think the strongest part of this film was visually and the world building, where this is not really a spoiler, but a lot of the film is spent in space in this place called the Communiverse, um, which is like designed it to be like spheres within spheres with these different habitats and stuff. And it just there's so much invention going on with the setting itself and with the variety of extraterrestrial creatures and characters who are part of this setting. So I mean I find the story beats are paint by number in the way the Pixar films have sadly largely become. But the setting and the character design for me were remarkably original.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Pixar in recent years has just went, okay, the appeal to the emotion very heavily has been successful for us. Let's just keep trying to rehash it. And I feel like they just miss the mark sometimes when they keep trying to do it instead of just letting it naturally happen. And if it happens, great. If it doesn't, oh well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think a big part of that was probably all the way back to Toy Story 3, when I think that one was like the big one where it kind of flipped Pixar's switch. And we've had good and bad since then from them. Um, but this setting is something that it's finally very different. It's very fresh. It's not a sequel. It's not a repeat of anything we've seen before. It's not something come to life like Cars and Toy Story. I don't know. It's very fun.
Yeah. I mean, within the animation industry, Pixar has become a famous formula that others learn in order to, like, how do you do animated storytelling? Follow the Pixar formula, Here's how you
Yeah.
make your own film. But for me, the most interesting films, the other two we'll be talking about, are the ones that break this classic form.
Yeah.
And I think big studios are just, especially in the current moment, where there's just such an obsession with making money over absolutely everything else, over creativity, over the staff, over the future of the studio, as we see with Warner Brothers. Like, they just had their most successful year, and yet they're going to strip it for parts and sell it to someone who's going to fire most of the people. Like, what are we doing? And censor
Yeah.
the rest. So it's not a great time for creativity in studios in general. So Elio is definitely the most creative animated big studio offering we've gotten this year. And I know people are like, oh, this is the one that could be off the list, but I'm happy to see it here.
I am too. Even just going off of the year in film, and I know we're going to talk about some of the others later. There's one that I'm personally upset didn't make the noms,
Mm,
and Elio is probably one of the two that I would rather it be replaced by.
right.
But
Fair.
like, I still enjoyed it a lot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
every animated feature was really solid this year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm always going to be like rah rah for the animated indie films. But of the big studio films, we've talked about three big studio films so far. The last two are indies. And of these three big studio films, I guess this is the one that I would remove from the list is Zootopia 2, and nobody's going to remove that from the list, so don't listen to me. That's just me finding that the most boring of three, and Elio for me has something more interesting going on.
Yeah.
But it didn't do well at awards. I mean, it's been nominated 13 times, which is not as much as the others. Missed every single time. 3 awards pending, including the Oscars. But it did surprisingly get 10 nominations at the Annie Awards, making it the leading film in nominations there, which I didn't expect. I
Yeah,
wonder.
I they just really loved it this year.
I wonder if it's that combination of it being a studio film and original storytelling, and they're like, "No, listen, do this, do more originals."
I think it was that, and from my understanding, which is not anything phenomenal, from what I understand, was they actually like designed a few new techniques of doing animation better and making it a little more
Mm,
fluid to make it look
right.
more natural. And so, like, obviously the Annies of all of the award shows are gonna take
It's
most
technical.
notice of that one,
Right.
especially in the technical aspect side of animation.
Right. I mean, I was talking about that communiverse, and I know that a lot of technical animation went into the setting, into those unique creature designs I was talking about. When you design an entirely new creature, you have to also design how that creature is going to be animated. Like if it has like fingers all over the edges of its body, those all needs you need to build a new animation rig for that so you can animate it, so it takes a lot of work to think outside the box like that. Even if it's not, even if the script isn't breaking new ground, all of these world building details around it are what makes this film special and for me worthy of this nomination.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to add to that one.
If you want to see it for yourself, it's streaming on Disney Plus already. It came out quite early in the year, to be honest. So it's on that regard, it's also nice that it made it. It's only an hour and 38 minutes long, so relatively short and very pleasant watch. So I recommend it for kids and I recommend it for adults too. Just, it probably won't become your favorite movie, but you won't have a bad time, most likely.
Yeah.
All right. That wraps up the studio films. So let's take another quick pause here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the indie films. Spoiler alert, my favorites. Be right back. All right. Let's dive into. Between the last two, I'm a bit torn about which is my favorite, but I do tend to land on Arco, which is directed by Hugo Bienvenu. It's from France. It's an indie film, but Neon purchased it, and they've been circulating a dubbed version of it. So it was originally in French, but now it's easier to find. The English dub has become more prevalent. And to explain that, we look at the nominees are the director, Hugo Bienvenu, with producers Félix de Givry, Sophie Masse, and Natalie Portman. And so it's the first nomination for three of those, although Sophie Masse also worked on lots of films like The Witch and May December and outside of animation as well. But the secret ingredient here, the person who's been painted as kind of a savior of getting this film seen internationally, is Natalie Portman, who this is her fourth Oscar nomination. The other three nominations are, of course, for acting, where she was nominated in supporting for Closer and in lead for Black Swan and Jackie, and she won for Black Swan. And the plot of Arco is, what if rainbows were people from the future traveling in time? 10-year-old Arco lives in a far future. During his first flight in his rainbow suit, he loses control and falls into the past. Iris, a girl his age from 2075, comes to his rescue and tries by all means to help send him back to his era. So, what's your overall thoughts on Arco? This one I've noticed is hit or miss with people.
This one, I will say, as of right here, right now, is my bottom of the 5.
Oh,
I still gave it a 7. I still really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I have this really bad habit. I need to sit down and watch all 5 of them together. I would love to just sit for a day, watch all 5, compare them back to back. Because the more I've watched the last 2 nominees most recently, so Arco and Little Amelie, I don't know, I've been thinking about Arco more. And so I'm wondering more and more if Arco actually stuck with me more than I realized. Because it's very good. The animation's great. That is like its strongest point for me. Of course, the story and everything else is very solid. But it's just, I don't know. There's lots of great elements. I do really want to see this in French. I'm very frustrated that we can't get the English dub. I purchased this film on VOD and still can't see it in French.
Mm-hmm. And I think that has to do with, I said Neon is the international distributor, and that's a powerful international distributor, huge Oscar footprint. See our international films episode where we talk about that. So Yeah, that was a big win, but I think they only have the rights to distribute the English dub,
That
which
is my assumption.
Which, yeah, I mean, I'll say the English dub has a great cast. Obviously, Natalie Portman is in it herself. She plays, so Arco is the name of the film. That's the character who goes back in time. And I love the fact he goes back in time to 2075. So he comes from even further in the future. So just the world building there is insane. And so he goes back and he meets and makes friends with this young girl called Iris, or Iris, I suppose. But yeah, Iris in English for sure. So Iris's parents are played by Natalie Portman and Mark Ruffalo. There's a trio of antagonists in the English language dub. They're played by Will Ferrell, Andy Samberg, and Flea. Arco's mom's played by America Ferrera. Um, yeah, an A-list English language cast. I have to say I've refused to watch the English language version. I did see it. I talked about this. Subscribers might remember me talking about this in the Leiden International Film Festival, What You Watch In episode. I saw this back in October, and I saw it in French. And when I've watched like the commercials or clips for it in English, part of me is like, oh, let's give it a chance. And then when I hear like the three triple antagonists, like when I hear the dub, I'm like, no, it's just not the same. I don't want to watch it and get the French voices out of my head. So I kind of wonder if I feel like the people who really love it saw it in the original French, and then a lot of the people who saw the dub first are less high on it.
I think that would probably be a fair assumption because like while I was watching it, when that trio get introduced, who are basically the Three Stooges,
Yeah.
I literally like the first voice I hear, I was like, "Is that Will Ferrell?" Like it took me so out of it because it was like I immediately knew the voice, and it was like if it was an American dub or an English dub, and we had American actors in here, fine. Why do they have to be such well-known ones?
Hmm.
Why couldn't they be
It
people who
sells
are
it.
simply
Yeah.
voice actors to voice act? Andy Samberg, I will give the benefit because he has done so much voice work in his career. But like, I don't know, some of the other choices here I wasn't the biggest fan of, even though the rest didn't really take me out of it. It was Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell. Um, Even though he was still great, he was still funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but those three characters, I do feel like they were thrown off a little bit, being Andy Samberg, Will Ferrell, and Flea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I have to say, I think also my theater experience helped with this one a lot too. I was in this tiny indie theater in a small city in the Netherlands, and the crowd, it was all because it was in original French with, I think we had Dutch subtitles. So it was an all adult audience. It was also in the evening, by the way. So
That's
there were no
awesome.
kids there. It was just all adults because kids, there was a dubbed Dutch version that kids could watch on other days, which I know someone else got stuck watching that, and he really, this is his bottom ranked. He's like, the Dutch dub was terrible.
Yeah, that's a
Fair.
little tough.
But my all adult audience was so into this film, just like laughing the entire time, especially at those three characters. And definitely a theater experience like that can boost your opinion of a film. But I also just really love the inventiveness of it, the sense of fun. You know, there's things in there that I've never seen. There's so many combinations of like, we've got time travel and robots and dinosaurs all coming together,
Yeah.
not necessarily in the way you might think.
No, it's pure chaos at different points. In any other medium, you'd be like, what the hell am I watching? But the fact that
Yeah.
it's done in animation and it's done so beautifully in it, it's like,
Mm.
oh, okay, this is fun. Like
Yeah.
it's just enjoyable.
Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
Ooh. I have it as my background for the film on Letterboxd, but I love the like floating platforms
Mhm.
that they all just house on. This it's not really a spoiler. It's like 2 minutes in that
Yeah.
they show off these houses that they live in the future, and it's just like every family kind of has like this looks like a plate where they all just live and do their thing, and
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's been climate disasters, so they have to come up with
Yeah.
new ways to live. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I want more stories in this world for sure.
I could absolutely see it happening. I don't think they are done with it.
Yeah.
I hope.
I will say in defense of the dub, they made interesting choices. For example, there's this Miki character who's the robot. A robot character is important throughout the film, and in the French original, the director himself, Hugo Bienvenu, I love his last name's Bienvenu, by the way, which means welcome in French for anyone who doesn't know. Mr. Welcome. He voiced the robot himself as a creator. And I love that this is like a sole creator film. This is really out of the mind of a creative. I want more films like that. But I do also appreciate the choice they made. So he did the French version, and then in the English version, because this robot character Miki is a caretaker, they combined the voices of Natalie Portman and Mark Ruffalo, who plays Iris's parents. It's their voices combined that's doing the robot voice. So I appreciate decisions like that, thoughtful decisions they made.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, both ways, I mean, are very cool. I mean, you can't really just have, I mean, I guess you could have Ugo come in through the English dub, but I don't know if he speaks English. But from my understanding,
He does with a thick French accent.
from my understanding, he's a very cool guy. But
Yeah.
like, I know he is the director, but I know he didn't write a lot of the script. I know he kind of just drew some stuff, storyboarded a lot, and then kind of passed the buck and said, "Hey, can we make a script out of this?" And I think
I mean,
that's kind of
yeah,
cool.
it was definitely art led. That
Yes.
it started with him sort of he said he had this vision of this little boy with rainbows, and that was where it started. And I suppose like those habitats you were talking about and things like that. The I was saying one of the producers, Felix de Givry, he is the co-writer, so I suppose he's the one who coalesced a lot of these ideas into a more coherent script along with Hugo.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
cool. I don't know. I just find it cool that he was like, I really like this art. I have this cool idea.
Yeah.
And who's around me who can help me bring it to
Let's make
life?
it a movie. And then luckily, I'm not they keep telling the story that Natalie Portman saw it. I'm not sure how exactly it came across her, but like she saw an animatic version of it. It was like a 40-minute animatic version of it basically, and she was like, "I love this. How do we turn this into a film?" And they're like, "We need your name and we need some of your money." And she's like, "Done." And by the way, here's my voice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like in terms of the budget was 9.5 million, which is it's indie. It is quite low, but it only made 4 million at the box office. So they are trying to make that money back now. It is available to rent, just released to rent. This was a big like it was the white whale for a lot of the death racers, Oscars death racers this year until it was just released on video on demand.
Yeah.
But if you do rent it, know the money's going to a good cause, to supporting indie film, and a lovely one. It's an hour and 29 minutes long. Um, it it has the pedigree in terms of it was released at the Cannes Film Festival. It's won 6 awards so far and been honored 4 more times, including a win at Annecy, which is like the biggest animated film festival, and at Annie, we already talked about that. It won the Indie Award at the Annie Film Awards, the César, the French Film Awards. That makes sense. Missed 25 times, again, blaming K-pop Demon Hunters for that, with 2
Mhm.
pending awards. Did you have any other thoughts about Arco?
I don't know. I mean, I have other ones, but they will get into spoiler territory. So I will just say watch the freaking film because it's very good.
I say it takes you on an emotional roller coaster.
There is a lot of emotion to it. There's a lot of heart that you can tell.
Hmm.
You can tell behind the scenes that there was a lot there too.
It lands in a bittersweet place, I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And there's definitely room for a sequel. I want the visit to go the other way next time, but yeah.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
So if you all go watch Arco and rent it, maybe I get my sequel I want.
That would be fun.
But yeah, it's definitely, there's two indie films that have been dominating the attention this year. One is Arco, and the other is the final nominee, Little Amelie, or the character of Rain, directed by Maëlys Valade, Lian Chohan. It's from Belgium, France. Another indie film distributed by G Kids. It's in French or Japanese originally. I know that this is another one that people have been having trouble finding the original language and have mostly been listening to the dubbed version. Which version did you get to watch?
From my understanding, and I also purchased this one because I wanted to support the indies. From my understanding, the one on VOD is the original with the French and Japanese language intermixed. Okay. So I definitely heard both Japanese and French when I was watching. Yeah. So
okay, no, that must be it then. But I know someone rented it through, I think, YouTube, and then was like, "Oh, I didn't check, and it's the English dub."
Oh yeah, I didn't even know there was an English dub of this one.
Yeah, it's not a famous voice cast for this one, but I know it exists. I haven't heard any of it, so I can't attest to the quality or anything like that. But obviously, if you need the dub for whatever reason, then great. I'm glad it exists, but obviously I prefer the original.
Yeah.
So the nominees for this one are the directors Maëlys Valade and Lian Chohan, along with the producers Nidia Santiago and Henri Magalon. It's the first nominations for all of them, but they do all have strong pedigrees in especially animated films. And to set this film up, it's about when you're 3 years old, you see everything and understand nothing. The world is a perplexing, peaceful mystery to Amelie until a miraculous encounter with chocolate ignites her wild senses of curiosity. As she develops a deep attachment to her family's housekeeper, Nishio-san, Amelie discovers the wonders of nature as well as the emotional truths hidden behind the surface of her family's idyllic life as foreigners in post-war Japan. So we should say, yeah, it's set in post-war Japan, so like late 40s, I suppose. That definitely plays a role in it, and it's a Belgian family in Japan, and from the perspective of a 3-year-old. So she's trying to understand the world. All she's ever known is Japan, and it's devastating to her that she's not considered Japanese because she's from a Belgian family. Yeah. It is based on a book. I haven't read the book, but it's called The Character of Rain in English, or in French, it's called Amélie et la métaphysique des tout. And yeah, you can see the French title emphasizes the metaphysics, whereas the character of Rain, it's talking about like the abstract, what is the character of Rain, but also in the film, she literally learns how to draw the Japanese character for Rain.
Yeah.
And that's a big moment for her.
Definitely a big one.
What are your overall thoughts on Little Amelie? Where does this rank for you?
I again enjoyed this one a lot. Spoiler alert, it is 3 of the 5 nominees I gave an 8 out of 10. So they're all kind of there for me.
Head and head.
This one is actually number 3 for me. So this is dead center. I don't know. I really, the focus on such a young kid being the protagonist and like from her point of view, and I don't know, there's a lot more observational storytelling that can happen that way because it's constantly the kid going, what's this? What's this? Why does this happen? And it's, for anybody who has ever worked with kids like I do every day, it's pretty normal to hear that constant questioning of different things. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, I found it very cute from this little kiddo, and the inquisitive nature of her was very fun.
Mhm. Yeah, and they really with the I mean, the art is adorable. It's, we talked about chibi style. It's not that, but it's like a more artistic version of that with like rounded characters, like rounded
Yes.
shapes, but with more like a watercolor type uh, aesthetic. But they really, with the cinematography, they emphasized putting it at the child's eye view, making the camera on her level. So you see it her way, but also just the way it focuses on her and the way it darts around, kind of mimicking her hyperactivity. We should say she seems to be a bit neurodivergent as a young child, even though
Yes.
she's also just a young child. Um,
Yeah.
Apparently, in Japan, they this is something from the book that's not said in the film, but I saw in the making of about it, which is on Animation Showcase if anyone wants to check it out. That they in Japan, a child is considered a god until they're 3 years old. So that explains also a bit of why she thinks she's a god.
Oh, that explains the intro because that intro had
Right.
me sitting here going, "What am I watching?" And then it
I
picked up, and
loved
I
it.
was like, "Oh, this is great." But
Yeah.
to just throw in and yeah, suddenly we're talking to a god, I was very confused.
Yeah. Well, because she thinks she's the center of the universe as
Yeah.
a young child, which I thought was brilliant. Apparently, in the book, it gets a bit more overtly religious, and the filmmakers for this were like, "Yeah, we didn't want to actually be religious. We just wanted to talk about that childhood transition from thinking you're the center of the world to realizing you are a part of a wider world beyond your scope and
Yeah.
understanding."
I mean, that's just awesome, though.
Yeah. Yeah, this one had the same budget as Arco, 9.5 million, but it made even slightly less, 2 million. So don't begrudge it. The fact that it's to rent still, including I noticed it was to rent on Letterboxd for actually a good price because often the new films on Letterboxd are really expensive, but I think this was only like €6.
Yeah, I think that's about $11 here in the US.
Okay. Yeah. And it's a short film too. It's only an hour and 18 minutes long, so definitely a really easy watch, and yeah, I because Arco I struggle between these 2 are my favorites because Arco, I love the inventive world building and, like, it's just so much fun and color in there, and Amelie is the one that really makes me think about, like, I'm someone who grew up in one country and then moved to another, and my identity is split between them. And it's a film about that a lot, but also a film about like the fallout of war and how do children learn about these complex adult concepts. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, there's so much surprising depth, not to mention beauty in this.
Not just like, I mean, of course, the fallout from the war is like one of the biggest parts, but like,
Hmm.
I think there's that that subtle racism that like
Yeah,
perpetrates because like I mean that was something that the US made a massive mistake on during the war was putting Japanese Americans in basically concentration camps. I mean it wasn't
yeah.
actually, but it
No,
was
that's
I mean
my
very
cousin. No,
very
it
close to
was.
it. I mean,
No,
uh
my grandfather's cousin, who's a close family member growing up, I didn't even learn about this at school. He's the one who told me about it because he was as a kid, he was in these camps, and they
yeah,
were taken away from their houses, and they were kept in, c not cages in the way we see going on in the US right now, but still.
no, but still in a way that's brutal
Yeah. I mean,
and
FDR is my
immoral.
favorite US president, but that is like a massive caveat. We've never had a perfect US president, and that is
God no.
yeah, he
Yeah.
really screwed the pooch on that, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the biggest mistakes we've ever made.
Yeah. So let's not do it worse. But
Yeah.
anyway, um this is one that like it has all these complex topics that adults can dig into, but it's still something you can show to a very young child and they will enjoy because they'll enjoy seeing the young protagonist and the pretty colors and all of that. So
Yeah.
I think this is a rare film that really transcends all age groups.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I would agree. I would argue Arco does that to a certain extent too. Yeah, this is the other one with the pedigree behind it, where it also premiered at Cannes. It's won 6 awards so far and been honored 3 additional times, including the Annecy Audience Award. And it's missed 23 times. You know the culprit already. 2 pending awards, including the Oscars. Did you have any other thoughts on Little Amelie or the character of Ray?
No, I mean it's a hard one to like discuss because it's not like it's so subtle, it's so involved. You just have to like experience it through her eyes, which is exactly what the film is, but like there's not a lot to talk about without just watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a short watch, as we said. So
Yeah.
So dig in. Okay, so you've given us a rough sketch, but lay it out. What is your ranking of these 5?
Okay. Ranking for me: K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Little Amelie, Elio, Arco.
Okay. I think I'm going to do ranking for me. I mean, it's so close to, or it's kind of a tie between Arco and Little Amelie. Maybe I give the edge to Arco. I keep doing that, but I don't know. Like, I like them for different reasons. So I'm gonna say a tie between those 2. So that means third place. Third place then for me goes to K-pop Demon Hunters, then Elio, then Zootopia.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I think we agree on what's gonna win.
yeah, I don't think there's any surprise there. I mean, like I said, it's in my top 10 of last year, but it's it's very clear. I think this is one of the clearest years it's been.
Mm. It would be a shock if anything else won.
I think it's the most clear since Spider-Verse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just yeah, we as we've hinted at already, though, we were not surprised remotely at all that these were the 5 films nominated, but that doesn't mean that there weren't other films who were worthy of this. You teased that there's one in particular you were sad not to see here, so we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to find out what that film is that you were surprised not to see here. We're going to talk about the massive cultural resurgence in a mainstream way of anime and some of the other best animated films of the year. Be right back. Okay, so we talked earlier about there's this sort of secret for-year consideration list that anyone who voted on the animated films or, you know, in the nomination process in the Academy had to have seen these 12 films. We know the 5 that were nominated were definitely on the list. There are 35 eligible films. So what do you think might have been some of the other 7 on that list? And it's starting with, what is the one that you most hoped was nominated?
That one is very easy for me. Lost in Starlight, the
Okay.
Korean Netflix production. That was actually my number 7 on the year. It was the only animated film above it was K-pop Demon Hunters.
Okay.
That one really just hit with me, but I'm not surprised that it wasn't nominated.
Do you want to set it up for people who don't know what it is? It's on Netflix, by the way, so people can watch it easily.
When an astronaut leaves Earth for Mars, the vast infinite space divides star-crossed lovers in this animated romance that crosses the cosmos. I mean, it's sci-fi meets romance meets great animation. I don't know. It's this guy very much questioning why this seemingly awesome woman loves him. I don't know. It's very, very good. I truly doubt it was in that secret 12 list.
I think it probably was, personally.
I think it was probably close if it was not in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
I mean, I've heard people loving it all year. This is one, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars out of 5. And it's one, like, it's on paper, it sounds like exactly my kind of thing, like scientist and musician fall in love, space travel's involved, and music, obviously. I didn't there were certain things that, like, irked me from, like, a CinemaSins perspective, where I was really mad about how the climax of the whole thing happened. I was like, "That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Astronauts would never."
Yeah.
And
There's
I
a little bit there, but
yeah,
I
but
don't know.
that's I mean, but I understand. It's beautiful. It's, like, got very likable characters. You're rooting for them. Apparently, it started as a music video, so it's amazing they were able to flesh it out so much. Um,
Yeah.
And I generally hear nothing but raving reviews of Lost in Starlight. So if you want to check that out, it's on Netflix. It's in Korean, obviously. You can listen to the dubbed version if you prefer to.
Yeah, I actually don't remember. I think I watched it in Korean. I think. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
if a dub is good, sometimes I will.
Yeah, I'll say that even the Korean version has some English in it because, well, especially because she is an astronaut. It opens with English because she's in the US training, doing astronauty things, and so they're speaking English, and then she goes back to Korea and it switches to Korean for most of it.
Yeah.
But there's English in it as well,
Maybe
even
that's
in the
why I can't
Korean.
remember.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one, I mean, I that was one that I thought, like, if something else slipped onto the list other than the 5 expected, that's one I thought was a potential spoiler.
Yep.
Can I give you a hot take on one that
Uh-oh.
I would have put over Zootopia 2? I would have put The Bad Guys 2.
See, I was getting ready to bring that one up next because I actually haven't seen it yet. It
Oh,
was like one
okay.
of my most anticipated in terms of animation last year, and I just didn't. And it's been so easily available for so long now.
I mean, it almost in setup, it almost feels like, did you like the first Bad Guys then, I presume?
Yes.
It's in setup, it almost feels like a Zootopia ripoff in some way, except they live in a world where, like, there's anthropomorphic animals and humans living together.
Yeah.
They never really explain the relationship there. It's just how it is.
No, it's just kind of there.
Yeah. And so you have this group of villainous animals. So there's some crossover with Zootopia 2 there, who perceived as villainous animals who are like, well, we have no choice but to be villains because you see us that way. Played by Sam Rockwell, plays the lead, and everyone's like sexually attracted to his to his Mr. Wolf character.
Yeah,
Um,
he's like a villainous James Bond wolf. Like, I don't know, it's
yeah,
weird.
but with a heart of gold, obviously.
Yeah.
And the rest of his crew is Mark Maron, Aquafina, Craig Robinson, Anthony Ramos, Zazie Beetz. They're joined by new characters played by Danielle Brooks, Natasha Lyonne, Maria Bakalova. Alex Borstein is a cop in both versions, one of the only human characters who actually gets lines. So it is a pretty good cast. It is sort of it's another one where, like, the climax, I'm like, this makes no sense scientifically, like, logically, none of this makes sense, but I still am enjoying this.
Yeah, that is I've only heard good things about it. It's one of the ones that I like wouldn't have been surprised hearing that it got nominated because I had heard it had been doing well, but I think it just released
Hmm.
really early in the season to even be considered.
Yeah, I think it flew under the radar. Like, the Bad Guys franchise in general, this is the second film and it just hasn't gotten as much attention. It's a DreamWorks film. Like, DreamWorks, we were saying, was the main studio that made them say, like, oh, maybe we should actually start awarding animated features regularly because now we've got some competition. But they're not doing as well in recent years at the awards.
Yeah.
Um, so this was their big entry this year. You can watch it yourself on Peacock, or here in the Netherlands, it's on Sky Showtime. And it was longlisted for animated feature at the BAFTAs, but otherwise it's been pretty ignored by the awardsy stuff.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised on that one.
Yeah.
There's one more that I still haven't seen it, which bad. Um, Scarlet was the one that
Mm.
I thought was really gonna take off. I mean, it's the same people that did Belle, which I thought was very pretty, even though I have not seen all of Belle either. Um, and Girl Who Leapt Through Time, I saw a long time ago. But like, I don't know, that studio is very solid, and I really thought Scarlet was going to be a bigger one in the conversation this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen Scarlet either. I was going to go see it in the theaters before it was barely in the theaters here, to be honest. It did not get traction in the theaters. There were a few showings, and then I ended up deciding I just needed to spend my time on other work things rather than going to see it. So it's just exited theaters. Hopefully, it will be to rent soon. It's from Studio Chizo, distributed by Sony, and it's basically a new take on the Hamlet story, which fits in with, like, I'm noticing there's so much Hamlet going on right now. We had that
Yes.
documentary from last year slash this year, Grand Theft Hamlet. We had Hamnet, of course, is a big film this year. We have the new um, the new National Theater Hamlet, and there's the new Hamlet also that just released a trailer. So yeah, Hamlet's having a moment, and
Yeah,
I want to see Scarlet, but
there's always a weird resurgence of Shakespeare. And it's always like one story, though.
I mean, I guess Hamlet. Like I'm like, okay, remind me all the details of Hamlet. It is a juicy one,
Yeah,
but this one, yeah, it's directed by Mamoru Hosoda, who is probably best known for the two films you mentioned, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time from 2006 and Belle from 2021. And Belle is a take on the Beauty and the Beast story, as the title kind of implies. And I have to say, I think The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is great. I did not love Belle as much as everybody else.
really.
So
Hmm.
that's another reason why I dragged my feet on the theater. I was like, "Ugh, I would rather just binge more of Demon Hunters and finally finish that."
Yeah,
But Scarlet was one that a lot of people thought
yeah.
might be.
Going into the year, it definitely sounded like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what else people thought was going to make it was another Netflix movie, In Your Dreams. So this is an American
Yeah,
film. Um, this was it's It's another, like, very comfy studio offering. Like, it's one I gave it 3 stars, but I liked it. 3 stars with a heart, you know?
okay.
Stevie and her little brother Elliot journey into the wildly absurd landscape of their own dreams to ask the Sandman to grant them the perfect family. So it's got that, like, following the Pixar formula situation in terms of both story and art style. But it does that very well, I think. I think there's definitely worse ways you can spend an hour and a half than watching In Your Dreams on Netflix.
Yeah, I have not seen that one either. I've been really bad about seeing much animation this year. The couple other features I've seen are either weren't even eligible or weren't considered. Um, but this was another one that I like saw it. I was like, maybe, and then I saw a trailer for it, and I was like, man, this just feels like fake Pixar. Is kind of how it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. It's not like really jumping at me, and so I kind of ignored it. And I don't know. Maybe I'll see it eventually, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, it is very much fake Pixar, but yeah, I liked it. I don't think it should have been on here over Elio, for example, which it would have been what it replaced, basically.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but it's worth if you're looking for some light, fun animation that's all about, like, family feels. In Your Dreams is a good way to spend your time. I have to say it worked for me a lot better than there's 2 other indie films. You know, I'm like rah rah indie animation, but there's 2 other indie films that got some more attention that I'm less keen on. One is Boys Go to Jupiter, which you can watch on HBO Max, and it's basically Did you? I don't know if you saw that one. It's
Nope.
really, it's, I wonder if you would like it better than me because it's one that I think I would have liked better in my 20s.
It's
Like it's,
like, isn't that the one that's like Flash animation ish?
yeah, the animation is terrible.
It's
it's,
always,
it's
see, sometimes when it's bad animation, that makes it funnier.
Yeah, no, I mean it is that's the vibe. That's the vibe you're going for. That it's like so stupid it's funny sort of thing, but there is kind of about hanging out in Florida, but there's weird stuff that happens. So it's one that I think about more than I expected after the fact. So maybe I liked it more than I thought, but I just think I would have liked it so much more in my 20s.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
That one was nominated for the John Cassavetes Award at the Indie Spirits, so that's why I saw it. But yeah, if you're into more experimental animation, yeah, Boys Go to Jupiter is one to check out. And kind of in the same vein, but on the documentary side of things, is Endless Cookie, which was nominated for Best Documentary at the Indie Spirits. And it's got like this intentionally ugly animation. I think the creator has a background in Adult Swim.
That would make sense.
So it's got that vibe. It's a Canadian doc about a white guy and an indigenous guy who are brothers. They share a father, and they make this film together. That's kind of a hangout film, kind of about their experience. For me, it's a bit too unfocused. But those were two of the wilder indie animated films. Um, but before we move on from the eligible films to talk about some other recommendations, we have to talk about the gigantic anime dragon in the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's do you have the sense that anime is having a moment in the mainstream?
Um, I think so. It's hard to say because I'm such a friggin' nerd. Um, I really think so. I mean, with me being a teacher, I teach kids that are high school, so like 14 to 18. So like I feel like year to year, I always kind of can tell the trends. Um, but I definitely feel like the last couple of years, anime has been getting bigger and bigger. And now when I hear kids talking about it, I hear much deeper cuts and like deeper cuts to anime that I have not seen. And it's like
You're getting old, man.
I
Mr. 2000 birth.
I have not seen a lot of anime. I'm very bad about that. I end up reading a lot more manga, but um I don't know. Like I hear some of the crazy deep cut weird anime that they're watching. I'm like, oh, they're actually truly interested in the form.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I'll say there's two big films that came out this year that are making especially an impact. There's Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle, and Chainsaw Man, the movie Res Arc. And both of them are sequels to existing series. So, Chainsaw Man, I'll say my bias going in. I watched Chainsaw Man every episode as it released. There's only one season out. It's based on a manga that I have not read. I thought, like, I'll read the manga. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm just happy to experience it this way. So they did an entire first season, which is about a horny chainsaw demon, but somehow I really like it. It's still
Yeah.
really good, not only animation, but really good writing about, the horny chainsaw demons also have hearts.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to have something.
Yeah. So that was definitely my bias going in. And that was one that, like, as soon as the movie came out, I can immediately watch the movie because I'm all caught up. Whereas Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, that has, depending on how you count, 4 or 5 seasons. Netflix says 5, whereas like the first season's 26 short episodes, and then like the other seasons are like 7 to 11 episodes each, and then this movie immediately picks up after that. So I have been binging Demon Slayer so that I can watch this movie, and unfortunately, I have not yet watched this movie. I am almost done with the final season of the show. So actually, I'm going to, and Yeah. So, listeners, if you stick around until after I say goodbye to Logan, I will jump into the future for the outro where I will have seen this film and I will be able to comment on it more. But yeah, between these two, my bias was Chainsaw Man, and that did well. It's from Mappa. It's available to rent now. It grossed 174.7 million in the box office worldwide, making it one of the highest grossing Japanese films of all time. It got positive reviews. Yeah, it's based on this manga that's still ongoing, but it follows only one season of an anime, so it's easy to catch up on the season. And I think, I don't know, maybe you can watch it without that as well. I think it catches you up enough. It's just basically like about, I don't know, I think it's worth getting Denji's backstory. That's the main Chainsaw Demon character, and the whole backstory of, like, it's funny, they're both kind of about groups of demon slayers, but completely different in tone. Whereas
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man is kind of more grounded, set in a modern society. The animation is a bit more adult. And Demon Slayer is more like they use a lot of that chibi style that we were talking about. I was
Yeah.
even wondering if K-pop like took some inspiration from some of the ways they use that chibi animation. But I'll say where Chainsaw Man has gotten good money and good reviews, Demon Slayer has wiped the floor with Chainsaw Man in almost every other movie on this list. It's from UFO Table or UFO Table, maybe it's called. I don't know how it's pronounced. I
Yeah,
only
I'm not
see it
sure.
on the screen. It's out of theaters now, not available to rent yet, so it's difficult to watch, but it will soon be available to rent for sure. And this became the seventh highest grossing film of 2025, grossing 778.9 million worldwide. So, one of the top grossing films of the year overall. Highest grossing international film in the US, a record previously held by Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It broke multiple box office records, becoming the highest grossing Japanese film, the highest grossing R rated animated film, the second highest grossing adult animated film, and the first R rated non American and animated film to gross over 700 million. And it overtook the Simpsons movie as the highest grossing film based on an animated television series. And yeah, it's just behind Lion King. It's the second highest grossing traditionally animated. So anyway, it's just breaking box office records left and right. And this
Yeah.
is why, like, I was aware Demon Slayer existed. I was like, I don't know if it's for me. And then after this film came out and the phenomenon, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm watching 5 seasons of this freaking TV show.
Yeah, Demon Slayer is one of the animes sitting on a list that eventually I'll get to it. It's Demon Slayer, My Hero, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Those are
Mm.
like 3 of the biggest ones, and I have not seen any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Demon Slayer. So, okay, Demon Slayer is a type of manga or type of, yeah, manga and anime called shonen, which is
Yeah.
basically Japanese for like teenage boy fantasies.
Yeah, basically. I mean, Shonen Jump is called that for a reason.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, shonen literally means boy in Japanese, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so.
And like, because I've been binging this, I just want to get to the movie, which I'm in the middle of the final episode before the movie. Um it's like I close my eyes after watching it and like I see animated boobs, not
That's
bare
so
breasted,
funny.
but just every adult woman has like there's one character in there. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mr. Sound Hashira. If you actually love your 3 wives, you will get them some freaking clothing because they look cold. That's how you take care of them.
So funny. It's such a Yeah, that's such an anime trope too, is just to
Yeah.
sexify the women as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean it's one and that happens in Chainsaw Man, but there is some more mature nuance in Chainsaw Man about it a little bit. Whereas it's more just like full on teenage fantasy in Demon Slayer. But that's being said, I do quite enjoy Demon Slayer. I haven't watched the movie, listened to the outro for what I think of the movie itself, the movie in question, but of the seasons I've seen so far, definitely the highlight is something called the Entertainment District arc, which just has one of the most emotional and epic and well grounded and found like not grounded's not the word, but like there's a battle sequence that lasts for like half the season, and it just had me absolutely enthralled with the character development, with every move, with like, oh my God, they're going to lose. Oh no, well, what's going to happen now? Who's going to die? It does a really great job in that regard. And it does a great job in general of it has all these characters that'll give these tragic backstories to. And there's a lot to love about Demon Slayer. And the animation, like I said, it's very chibi style a lot, but mixed in with just very crisp, colorful art. So it's very attractive to look at, not just the physical forms of the people. And I'll say they also give every single male character when they take their shirt off, I would say they have an 8-pack, but I think it's animated as a 4-pack, which
That
is very
sounds about
chiseled.
right.
They're all just like very stocky, chiseled men without variation. So it's a good looking one. It's a fun one. And when it hits those epic highs, it does it like no other.
Yeah, you're hyping this up. You're making me want to watch it now.
But I do like the Chainsaw Man movie even better. I just think it's more grown up.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see what I think about the Infinity Castle movie, which is the first in a trilogy. So there will be 2 more Infinity Castle movies, and then I guess that's the end because the manga for this one's wrapped up.
Yeah.
But this one, yeah, it got some more award attention. It got a Golden Globe nomination, a Critics' Choice nomination, a PGA nomination, and was on the BAFTA long list. But it didn't win all of these because, do you want to guess who did? Except for BAFTA.
Makes sense.
Yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters for the win this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely happening.
Whereas Chainsaw Man got more indie awards attention, like the Annies or Japanese awards or smaller awards. I have a question. Do you know the difference between, so we talked about shonen is like teenage boy fantasy, and then there's something called seinen or seinen, I guess it's pronounced, or seinen, that's like shonen for grown-ups. And
It's like darker, right? Like it's supposed to be.
yeah, it's like there's no, rating restrictions on it. And so I would expect I already said Demon Slayer was rated R. Chainsaw Man, I think in some ways is even more adult. Um so I don't know but both I think are called shonen. So I don't know where this line is drawn, but neither of these movies do not show them to kids.
I think, if I remember correctly, like the biggest example is Vinland Saga.
Hmm.
Because
That's
it's
one I've heard
like,
of, but I haven't
it's
watched.
more mature. I've seen a couple episodes of the anime, but from my understanding, it's just like, it's a lot heavier with the themes. It's not as whimsy. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll just as a reminder that anime, though, it doesn't have to be this shonen teenage boy style. There's lots of different varieties, and a film that's based on a Japanese film, animated film based on a manga, that definitely does not fit into this. That could have been a contender this year is a film called 100 Meters, which is also available on Netflix, and it's much more grounded and restrained and mature. It's basically about running and philosophy and the philosophy of running. But I called it Look Back for those who are familiar with that animated movie that's based on a manga and being made into a live action movie. I called it Look Back for jocks, but with more philosophy and less sudden tragedy. um, yeah, so it's about 2 guys who meet, or you could compare it also to what's it called? To Kokuho, we talked about in the makeup category. It's about 2 guys who meet when they're kids, basically teenagers, and they're both runners, and they become sort of lifelong rivals who kind of push each other to do better. But then it's all talking about like, why do we run and what is healthy and da 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 da. But it also has it's rotoscope animation, which is basically where you take live action and kind of trace over it to create the animation. And it's absolutely stunning animation of these races. There's especially this sequence that takes place in the rain that if you look through the reviews on Letterboxd, everyone mentions a sequence in the rain. So if you want to see anime that's not teenage boys fighting demons and getting the girls, 100 meters is, and I'm saying this as someone who's not into sports films, 100 meters is a great film.
Yeah, that's it's again another one on the list of just I keep meaning to. It just hasn't happened. But I was a runner for a very long time, and I have some issues with my knees, so I don't do it anymore. But like running is a huge, huge part of my life. I can't believe that one is one that I still haven't gotten to, but it's up there.
Yeah, well, I recommend it. Do you have any other films you want to call out from the list of 35 eligible films?
From the eligibles, no. I don't think there's any of the others I saw.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them are films that are, I mean, I'll include on the list, but films that I would have never expected to get, like the SpongeBob movie or Fixed, Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. People were joking, like, why is Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, eligible and certain other films are not?
Yeah.
What other films are they talking about? Well, let's take one final break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the biggest animated film of the year and other recommendations that were not eligible for the Oscars for various reasons. Be right back. All right. It's time to talk about the Neja 2 of the of in the room. Have you seen any of these Neja movies?
No, but I have watched clips. I'm so bad about this year. This is killing me. No, I've seen lots of different clips and really enjoyed the animation. I actually at one point did have a ticket to see the sequel in theaters. So I was like, oh, great, I'm going to watch the first. And then I truly don't remember what happened. Something was going on, I think with work at the time, and I just had to put it on the back burner, and it has never been picked back up. But watching it continually do what it did at the box office was crazy. To like
Yeah.
watch from a distance, especially for a Chinese film, that Chinese animation, Chinese films in general just don't ever do as well as this one did in the US. Like it's a big thing.
Yeah. So Neja 2, it is a sequel as the title suggests. It's based on a Chinese mythology. And so actually if you like look up the film, you'll see there are other films with similar names because it's based on the same mythology. But yeah, I actually like the first one in this series, maybe better than the second one in terms of writing, but the second one is just gobsmackingly mind-blowing animation when it comes to epic battles between gods and humans, basically. Um, and so this one you can see it for yourself on HBO Max or it's available to rent. But you were referencing, what it was doing at the box office. It had a budget of 80 million US dollars and it grossed 2.2 billion. So sorry, Zootopia 2. That's why Zootopia 2 was like second in all these categories. Neja 2 is number one in those categories. It is the highest grossing film in a single box office territory, the highest grossing animated film of all time, the first adult animated film in this position. I don't know why it's considered adult though. I actually think it's pretty kid friendly, at least preteen friendly. It's the highest grossing non-English language film and the first animated film in history to cross the $2 billion mark, as well as the highest selling animated film on ticket sales, overtaking The Lion King again. Sorry, Lion King's getting a trouncing this year. And this is, by the way, The Lion King that we're referring to that had these box office records was the live action one. I think just because the animated one, the inflation's not doing that one any favors. um, but yeah, it's the highest grossing film overall of 2025 and the fifth highest grossing film of all time. So I was shocked that they did not submit it for the Oscars. Maybe I shouldn't have
Yeah,
been.
I truly just don't understand what happened there. I don't I don't know. Like, it was clearly doing very well. Critics were raving. It had the theatrical runs. I do not know why they didn't at least throw their hat in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's not.
I think it
It's
was,
not like they didn't have the money for a campaign. I feel like there's something.
yes. I
I
think
don't
this is
know.
a weird one where people are going to go in a few years, wait, that wasn't nominated? Like, because it feels so out of place.
Yeah, it feels like such a big miss. But if they don't submit it, the Oscars aren't going to be like, hey, yeah, I mean, other award ceremonies will, and it was nominated in other places. But the Oscars say, like, no, you must do the paperwork and submit your film to us before we consider it. So it
Yeah,
was just not even
very
up for
strange.
consideration. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were other films that were not up for consideration that I might have expected otherwise. Lesbian Space Princess was another one that I keep hearing great things about. It's an Australian film. It's available on like Hoopla and a bunch of other places and to rent. I haven't gotten to see that one. That is the other one. I will watch it by the time you hear the outro. So when you time travel to the future of the outro, I will have comments about this one, whether I liked it or not. It's a comedy, as the name suggests.
I feel like a lot of people I know that have seen it have just kind of said, it's fine, and then moved
Okay.
on.
All right.
So
All right. So
it's not
maybe
one that I
that's
think
why.
we're missing out on too much.
All right. I'll say I did watch and I liked, but I didn't. I strongly liked The Colors Within, even though it's kind of a Christian film, which is not typically my bag, but it is in a very kind of open-minded way, what I consider the good side of Christianity, where let's just be kind to people and it's about like let's allow teenagers some room to discover themselves, sort of thing. So I
Cool.
enjoy The Colors Within, which it's a Japanese film. You can watch it on HBO Max. Um, but another one that, yeah, was not eligible because it didn't get a theatrical release is Predator, Killer of Killers, which you can watch on Disney Plus now. Are you a Predators fan? Did you see
Yeah,
this one?
I am a fan of Predator. I weirdly, the Predator franchise was one I hadn't really touched until like a year ago. Um, I binged them all, and then finished Prey, which was the most recent at the time, and then
Mm-hmm.
Killer of Killers, which was the animated one to come out last year. I watched, and then last week, actually, no, I don't know, I'm mixing my calendar up. I watched Predator Badlands very, very recently. Um, and I don't know, bringing Predator to animation was a decision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how I feel about it still, because while I enjoyed it, it definitely felt like the animation didn't match what we've always seen in the live action films. I don't know. There were some things that they could do that were fun and unique, and then there were things that very much just felt like other Marvel animated projects that what if that just the animation drives me batty. And
I'm a
so
what if defender, but
fair, but like I don't know. I have my issues with some of the animation, but the story I thought was really good.
yeah. My issue, and we did a what you watch and that subscribers can listen to for Killer of Killers. My issue with that one was pretty much entirely the frame rate. I think they used too low, like they were like animating on, I don't know, the twos or even less for some reason. And maybe that made it cheaper. Maybe they're going for a particular style, but it just made it come across as too choppy, distractingly
Yeah.
choppy for me.
It was like motion smoothing had been turned on. It just made everything, I don't know, it was very funky. I don't know.
Yeah. It was just that for me was the issue, was the choppiness of the animation, and it's an anthology style, so some hit better than the others. Like the Japanese one in there is the one people like best.
Yeah.
Um, I think maybe probably I like them all to different degrees. I like the Japanese one, followed by the Viking one, and then the what do you like, the World War
The
II
pilot one,
era
yeah.
one. It looked cool, but it had the least story. But I really liked the last one, which I won't spoil, but I'll just say the last segment, the fourth segment, brings together everything else, but also expands the lore of the Predator universe. And that
Yes.
is what gets me most excited about this film.
I do truly think the connections to other parts of the franchise are the best part, but that also hurts it at the same time.
Hmm.
Because it's like, if it's so tied to everything else, is it really its own thing? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. Me and anthologies, it's very hit or miss. The concept of anthologies drives me nuts most of the time.
I love an anthology, but it's because it's like a grab bag of different things.
Yes. And I think the grab bag is what throws me off.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see if they'll do another animated Predator project. I think we will have an animated Alien project that will serve as the answer, because Predator and Alien are, in the same universe. So
Hmm.
I'm curious to see what might come of it.
It sounds like Dan Trachtenberg is planning to do a follow up to this, just to pick up on, the things I was teasing in that last section.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, he's done 3 Predator projects already,
Right.
and it seems like this is kind of his thing.
Yeah, but there's also things he set up in the section that you can't necessarily do, like maybe bringing back some legacy characters who might not look the same as they did
Yeah,
X number of years ago.
that would be the other consideration.
Mm. What did you think of Badlands, by the way?
Loved it.
Yeah,
Badlands is actually up there as one of my favorites in the Predator franchise, unironically.
yeah. 5-star film. I will hear nothing else. I'll link to a deep dive to that in the show notes too for anyone who hasn't heard it.
Yeah, I mean, my 2 favorite Predator films are actually, it's Prey and Badlands. Like,
Yeah,
I
this is the correct answer.
I like the modern takes on it. I
Yeah,
think there was a lot of mistakes that the older ones made. Alien versus Predator, we don't really need to talk about. Um, but yeah,
I'll
I don't
defend
know.
those to a certain degree.
Yeah, I'll defend the first one. Requiem, I won't.
It's like so it goes into the so bad it's good again in a way. Like, how
That's
is
fair.
this so bad?
That's totally fair.
Give me more. How is this so bad? What are they going to do next? Oh no, why?
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh. But yeah, no, I liked Killer of Killers, but they just Disney was like, no, we're not even interested in floating this for awards. So fine, fair, whatever. It's on Disney Plus. If you're into the Predator franchise, I definitely suggest watching it for the lore reasons alone. But also there's some cool storytelling in there.
Yeah, I think if you're already not a fan of Predator, you're not going to vibe with it, though.
No, this is purely for Predator fans, I think. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not a Predator fan, try Badlands and maybe you'll become one, and then go
Yeah,
watch Killer of Killers.
God, that's a great one.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know between Prey and Badlands which I would rank first, because they both have different things going for them.
Yeah, very, very different. But yeah, I enjoy them.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the animated shorts for this
Yeah,
year?
that was actually the first category I finished this year.
Okay.
Was animated short.
What's your? I mean, won't say too much about my own thoughts here because I've dedicated a few episodes to these so far. But what are your overall thoughts in this category? Any favorites?
I do have a favorite. It's the unconventional one that people have been like, "What? This is your choice." It's Three Sisters. I
Yeah.
really vibed with it. The beginning threw me
Mm-hmm.
off, but then it got really funny, and I was just laughing the whole time. And I was like, "Oh, this is great." Um, that's definitely my front runner. Um,
What do you think might win?
I don't know actually. I think animated short is a very big toss up this year.
Hmm.
Um, it's my lowest of the animated shorts, but Butterfly has been getting lots of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be an upset category and Forever Green is going to take it. And the
Mm.
reason I think that is because at the end, there's that Bible verse that pops up. And I think a
Mm.
lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a Christian film. And we know how America is. A lot of the American voters might see
But the
that and go,
Academy?
I'll push for it. Maybe, maybe not. That's where I'm not
Um,
sure.
I think yeah. So Forever Green is my lowest rated, just because it's so simple. But it's lovely. Like I have no problems with any of
Yeah,
these. I like Three Sisters more than most people. Like people are like, it's kind of a silly, simple short. I'm like, I kind of like that.
that's why I like it.
And
Yeah,
yeah, the sisters are fun. The animation's fun. The whole thing is fun. My two favorites are Retirement Plan and The Girl Who Cried Pearls. I think Retirement Plan would be my pick to win, and I think it might also be my prediction just because of the way it resonates with people and the Donald Gleason of it all, but I do
yeah,
also hear a lot of buzz about Butterfly, which is again about um I don't want to spoil it, but it's about a swimmer with a complicated past in terms of, well, I'll just say in terms of World War II stuff. So, in terms of Holocaust. So,
yeah.
that aspect of it is, I think, also going to, and has very inventive animation, Butterfly. So, I could see, I think to win, it's between Retirement Plan and Butterfly. My pick is Retirement Plan.
Yeah. I yeah, I could really see any of these pulling out. I think the one that's least likely to win is Three Sisters, which is the one I would love to win, but I I don't see that being the winner.
I hear a lot of people who, I mean, there are people who are like poo pooing it, as we've been saying, but I do hear a lot of people who are like, you know what? I like that one.
Yeah.
So it could be a dark horse, but I think if Retirement Plan and Butterfly weren't such strong contenders, maybe it could be like in third place.
Yeah, I agree.
Any others from the short list you want to call out?
Snow Bear. That one was a big one that I was genuinely surprised didn't get nominated.
Hmm.
Um, Loved that one a lot. I actually have talked to the director. I have a copy of the film that he gave me because I'm a teacher, and Snow Bear talks a lot about some of the impacts ecosystems are facing because of humans and global
Hmm.
warming. And I don't know, I thought it was cute and fun, and I will be showing it actually very soon to my some of my students. Because it's a cute way to look at it, but also it shows the reality of the nightmare situation we have created for them.
Hmm.
And I don't know.
What's the age of your students again?
The they are 14 to 18, so
Okay. Yeah.
definitely like old enough to like see the
High school.
messaging.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I think still too young to have seen Brother Bear, so
Fair. Yeah, Brandon also, when we did our shorts episode, he also called out Snow Bear as a particular favorite. A lot of people have been doing that, and I
yeah.
know a lot of people are surprised it didn't get nominated.
Yeah. There's one more that really hit me, and that was Playing God.
Mm,
I
that's the Frankenstein-like
Yes, I love stop motion,
claymation. Hmm.
and claymation, in my opinion, is one of the hardest stop motions,
Mm,
and it's not always done well. And I'm gonna say a very controversial thing. I'm
hmm.
not. I'm not an Aardman fan.
Mm-mm.
I have not seen anything from.
Same.
I enjoy it. It's good. I love the animation, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan, so like
The stories are too simple or too slapstick for
I'm
me, I
not.
think.
Yeah, I think so, and that's
So
okay.
Aardman, for anyone who doesn't know, is like what's the main one? Wallace and
Wallace and
Gromit, and
Gromit.
like Shaun the sheep, and
Yeah,
yeah,
those are their big ones, and nothing wrong with that. Like you do you, but I don't
yeah.
know.
I like the
Finding
Star Wars Visions one they did,
yes, they
but
did a
anyway.
good one there. Um, I don't know. Playing God is just this cool little freaky little animation thing. I don't really know how to like describe it. It's very Frankenstein-y and
Yeah.
horror-esque. Um, there's like practically no dialogue.
Yeah. I highlighted it in my shorts for Lorehounds episode that's linked in the show notes. That was definitely one of my favorite. And another one I'll call out is Hurricane, which is about a casually boar-headed guy. Like, don't worry about it. He has the head of a pig. No worries. But it's mostly about like one wild night in Prague where he's trying to impress a bartender and things just keep going wrong.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, I thought it was a good lineup this year.
Yeah,
I liked Autocar's magical realism. There's a lot of good stuff going on this year.
I completely agree. I don't think there was a lot being considered that was not great. I didn't finish the short list, but I got a few knocked off of it, and everything I saw was pretty solid.
Yeah. Um, but what about any other recommendations, other animated films you saw this year that you would recommend?
I think we've literally discussed every animated feature I've seen. Um,
I'll just shout out quickly. We brought up the Chinese animation of Neisha too. There's a couple other, one from China, one from Hong Kong, that impressed me this year. I talked about them both more in the Imagine Fantastic Film Festival episode for subscribers. And those are The Girl Who Stole Time from China, which is like this bittersweet I was about to say something spoilery about it, but I'll say it manipulates time. There's a romance element. There's a lot of adventure, some really cool 3D animation. The Girl Who Stole Time is my favorite animated film of the year, followed by I think Chainsaw Man.
yeah,
And Another World from Hong Kong is one that I highly recommend to especially people who are fans of Spirited Away. It's very much that vibe in the afterworld of someone who ends up traveling through lifetimes to try to save a soul from becoming a demon, from giving in to the anger within and becoming a demon. So yeah, The Girl Who Stole Time and Another World are. I'll put links to in the show notes. I'll put links to where you can find out more about them. But they are both, I think, still making the festival round, so might be a bit more difficult to watch. But one that's easier to watch. That I'm not going to say it's great, but I enjoyed it more than I expected, and that is The Witcher: Sirens of the Deep. So it's on Netflix. It's part of the whole Witcher thing with Henry Cavill now taken over by. I haven't watched the latest season of The Witcher. I still need to do that. Jean and I are supposed to talk about it, but I've been so caught up in all this other stuff. Um, but I enjoyed this animated series. It's set, I think, between seasons 1 and 2, and it basically blatantly rips off the original Hans Christian Andersen version of The Little Mermaid in terms of plot. It's
it's funny.
basically like exactly that. But I had a great time with it. Are you a fan of the Witcher universe in general?
I legitimately nothing. None of the games, nothing.
Wow.
I have not. It's one of my blind spots in fantasy realm. Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah. So I've seen all except for actually, I'm in the middle of season 3. And
Okay.
I think I kind of like the animated film better than seasons 2 and 3 of the live action, but I also like that, like, what is it, the Blood whatever spinoff? I like that better than seasons 2 and 3, so don't listen to me.
Yeah.
But if you feel the same, Sirens of the Deep, you can do worse with your evening than watching a Little Mermaid rip off. But remember, it's not the Disney Little Mermaid. It's the Hans Christian Andersen tragedy Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been, people are saying it's been a weak year in animation, and maybe like 35 qualifying films definitely is not a lot. But I think there's some real quality more in there than people can. And I don't think you should watch all 35 of those films. Some of them look terrible and have bad reviews. But I think there's a lot to dig into if
Yeah.
you're interested in animation. And I'm
I
very curious to see how the anime influence plays out in future years. Like, are we going to keep getting, like, because these two, Chainsaw Man and Demon Slayer, they're not just anime films, but they are sequels to series. So you have to be heavily invested in order to watch the film. Yet
yeah.
still, they're doing so well.
I think people really like being invested in massive stories like that, but then I feel like a lot of the anime films they're not inaccessible, whereas like I'm going to compare it to the MCU, which is weird, but like the MCU is huge. There's lots of shows, there's lots of films. It got to a point where people were feeling like things were homework, whereas individual like films and like tie-ins to anime, they're already enjoying the anime usually, so they just go see the film in theaters. Um, I say that as a guy that I don't know. I read Dragon Ball, like I read the manga
Yeah.
or read it, but like I watch the films. I don't watch the anime, so I don't know.
I mean, like films like I was saying, Chainsaw Man, they already had me. I was like, oh, cool, film's coming out. And then it did better than I expected. But something like Demon Slayer, that got almost 800 million in at the box office. And it's got me being like, fine, I'll watch 5 seasons of this freaking series. And that
Hmm.
for me, I'll be honest, it at times did feel like homework.
Yeah,
But I'm so glad that I'm invested all of that because it is one that really builds the characters throughout. And I know, like, having all this background, knowing all these characters, seeing all of the training and strife and everything they've gone through is going to make this final film hit so much more.
I completely get it.
Anyway, yeah, good year, I would say, in animation, and it feels like we're at a turning point where I wonder when the awards are just going to kind of let go of these less interesting, more formulaic, big studio films. Like it feels like that's already happening in favor of we're seeing more and more inventive indie films sneak in, which I like to see.
Yeah,
So
I love the less mainstream. I mean, a long time ago, it was the only film nominated was owned by Disney or DreamWorks, and
right.
now it's way less often that that's the case.
Yeah. It's certainly like we saw Flow one last year, and that was just made in Blender, an animation studio I used to work at.
Yeah.
Just it's open source software, so you can just pick it up and start using it for free, and start learning on YouTube videos how to use it. Um, and that's made it more possible for a wider variety of passion projects to make it through,
Yeah.
things like that. So I like to see it. I think K-pop Demon Hunters is going to win. If Arco or Little Amelie does, then you'll hear me screaming from Amsterdam. But what are your thoughts or preferences or predictions in other races? What are some of your favorite films of the race, and who do you think is going to take the big prize?
God, I am hoping Sinners. I just need Sinners to
Yay!
sweep.
Correct answer.
I would also be okay with one battle after another.
Oh man,
I enjoy them both
I
a
know
lot.
other people love it. I got
Um,
to stop yucking other people's yum on that one.
Sinners was my number 2 on the year, and One Battle was my number 3. So like, I am very excited for both. I'm cool with
You're spoiled
either.
this year.
Yeah, I had a
Wait, what's your number one?
Superman.
Oh yeah, fair. Why
I'm a
was that
nerd. I
not
mean,
nominated? Why was that not
I
nominated
know
for
why it wasn't
anything?
nominated, but um, I don't know. There's Sinners and One Battle, I think, are going to do very well. I really, really want to see Michael B. Jordan get that actor. Coogler getting
Looking more
director would be
likely.
great too, but Michael B. Jordan getting actor is something that I think really, really needs to happen.
It's looking a lot more likely after the actor awards. Let's say that.
I think I'd love to see Sinners take score as well because I love Ludwig. I think he does great work, and him getting another award would not hurt.
And tune into the next episode for a deep dive into the Sinners score.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm pro Sinners. Like, not I don't need it to take all 16 categories it's nominated in. For example, I'm vocally championing Kate Hawley for Frankenstein and costume, for example. But yeah, I hope it wins most of its categories, and I definitely hope that the tide is turning, that it will win Best Picture, because I just think I know a lot of people love one battle after another, but I do feel like the people who love Sinners love it more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's such a passion for it as a creative work of art, as a time capsule of both our cultural moment and the 1930s Mississippi. Yeah, it's so much film.
And it's just, I mean, it's Michael B. Jordan. The man is phenomenal, and
Killmonger.
yes, and it's another one of those films where it's, hey, let's remind everybody how jacked he is. It's because, I mean, him playing Creed for so many years, like, he's always been shown that way, but I don't know. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well, you'll hear two yells then if that one takes Best Picture.
Sounds about right.
Well, it's been great talking to you about all of these. I will also link the 2 prior episodes that you appeared on in the show notes if anyone wants to hear more of our conversation about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which we are both, spoiler alert, fans of, and last year's Tech Awards. Is there anything else you want to shout out or final words you want to share before we go?
No, I don't know. Keep supporting animation. Go see things in theaters as you can.
Yeah. Or rent it.
Or renting. Yeah, pay them.
All right. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you again so much to Logan, and thank you, listeners, for hanging out with us while we talked a lot of animation. I have, as I promised, now that it is the future, seen those 2 other films that I mentioned. First, Lesbian Space Princess. Yeah, I suppose I vibe a bit with what Logan was saying. Other people were saying, which is, it's good, it's fun. It's more in that quirky kind of maybe almost Adult Swim vibe, like the 2 other features I talked about. But I did enjoy it more than them. It is absurd. It's about literal lesbian space princess who lives in gay space and then has to go outside her bubble to save her ex, who is just a lot of kind of on the nose humor, but it's amusing, it's charming, and there's some really inventive animation actually. So I enjoyed my watch. Now, as far as Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, I can't stop. I finished it now, and I can't stop comparing it with Chainsaw Man in my mind, which is, I'm sure, is very unfair, but just because they have some surface similarities with, both being the shonen type of anime that's about demon slayers teaming up with demons to fight other demons. And I enjoyed the Infinity Castle movie. It is a wild animated ride. Like, it looks great. It does the Demon Slayer thing where, it's battle, battle, battle. And now let's do a flashback to understand more about the people engaged in the battle. Always tragic, always tragic. And then, once you have been cued to be sufficiently devastated, perhaps someone will die. Now, yeah, putting them side by side, I think what really strikes me why I like the Chainsaw Man version better is that Demon Slayer has this sort of surface wholesomeness, like you can tell that it's promoting traditional Japanese values, and that's definitely not always a bad thing when it comes to like working hard, things like that. Although maybe it goes a bit too far in that sense at times, in the expectations of the characters, and that is something that I notice more with Demon Slayer is that there is more downtime with the characters. Like, yes, there are epic and epically animated battles, but they have also more time to just hang out and be normal people. Also helps, I suppose, that that one is set in, something more like our real world in the present day. But yeah, in terms of the wholesomeness, I talked about like the boobalicious character designs and things like that. And it's whereas I called Chainsaw Man the horny chainsaw demon, but I suppose the difference is with Chainsaw Man is that that concept is explored. It's not just like, oh, look at the lovely ladies. It's him openly lusting after them and kind of having to learn in the way I think a lot of teenagers do in general, about A, what's acceptable, and B, also the difference between just lusting after someone who's pretty and someone about whom you genuinely care and what it feels to be cared about, even though he's not someone with Denji, the Chainsaw Man protagonist, he's not someone with deep feelings, whereas Tanjiro from Demon Slayer definitely is someone of deeper feelings. He's sort of like the perfect the perfect son that everyone would want, he's just such a good guy all the time. And Denji is the exact opposite. He's very humanly flawed, even though he is merged with a demon. And yeah, I think that there's also a difference between them, that Demon Slayer has so many more characters, so you end up getting these dips into these backstories I mentioned, which give you shallower but poignant arcs. Whereas Chainsaw Man, it does mostly focus on Denji and some of the key characters around him, and so you get deeper dives into fewer characters. And I don't know, I guess there's a bit of a difference. Like in Demon Slayer, again, I have not read the manga, which I know is concluded, so maybe this will be resolved by the end of the story. There's 2 more of these Infinity Castles movies coming to wrap it up. But there's this current story going on about like, oh, we have to turn someone back from a demon to being human. And I'm like, as a viewer, am I supposed to want this? Because I absolutely do not. It's like, why are we taking away this woman's power instead of, versus where you have people in Chainsaw Man who are struggling with the fact that they've become demons. But it's about accepting someone for who they are and maybe helping them to become better versions of themselves. Like, they don't stop being demons, but they can be better demons, as I said, both have absolutely epic battles. The advantage to Demon Slayer is that the battles are very easy to follow, I would say, whereas Chainsaw Man, especially this new movie, uses a bunch of different mixed animation styles and media that are so cool to look at, but I do sometimes lose track of what's going on in a battle. And I will say, it's just the advantage of a longer format. In both cases, I think there are elements from the series that I prefer to these new movies that we're talking about. So for Demon Slayer, I still would say that the entertainment district, the second half of that season especially, is where Demon Slayer peaked for me so far. And in Chainsaw Man, although it is the film is it's a complete arc versus Infinity Castle starts in the middle of action and ends in the middle of action with a bunch of cliffhangers because there's 2 more films coming. And Chainsaw Man, there's more coming, but this res arc is a complete arc. So you have a beginning and a middle and the end of this sort of sidestep in the story. Anyway, that's probably more than you wanted to know about my thoughts about the difference between those 2 shonen anime juggernauts. If you have any thoughts about them. If you prefer Demon Slayer or if you agree with me about Chainsaw Man, I definitely want to hear about them. Please send any and all feedback about anything we've covered today or anything else we cover on the Lorehounds to lorehounds@thelorehounds.com, and we will discuss it in a future episode. Or just love to hear your feedback regardless. You can also join us on the Discord to chat about all of this. You'll find that link in the link tree in the show notes. That's also where you'll find links to the other network affiliates, such as Properly Howard, which just started their quote-unquote newlywed season of movie reviews, which is not very descriptive, but basically they are watching a bunch of movies for the first time from all different kind of genres. So check that out in the Properly Howard feed. And Never Mind the Music just put out an AI sidetrack episode where Mark tells me that I'm name dropped as someone who has opinions about AI. So looking forward to listening to that this week. In the Lorehounds feed, obviously, there's a few more Oscar episodes coming after this in the just over a week now until the Oscars. Mark and I have already recorded, as I said before, our music episode. So that's coming out next, followed by the tech categories episode, and then wrapping up with writing, directing, and acting and casting. And other than that, of course, there's weekly coverage of The Pit. We just released a one-shot from the live-action One Piece Season 1 recap to prep for Season 2, which launches on March 10th on Netflix. And John and I will be back to talk about Season 2 in some form. And also watch out for the upcoming one-shot for the Bone Temple as soon as Oscar coverage is over. And subscribers, you, of course, get access to ad-free versions of these episodes in the Supercast and Patreon feeds, plus bonus episodes like the Annie Hall episode that just dropped there. Okay, we're pulling today from the Epic folder for our final thank yous in honor of the epic stories we've been talking about and in honor of our epic listeners like you. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, please share this with anyone else who you think would enjoy this deep dive into the animation of 2025 and beyond. We especially always like to thank our Discord server boosters, Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Ardition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. This is our main social hangout for the Lorehounds, and with our server boosters, we are able to offer a few more bells and whistles. Thank you to all of our subscribers. We deeply need and appreciate your support and are hoping to grow more so that we can focus more of our time on making the best possible podcast for you. So if you have any thoughts or tips for us, then please get in touch on the Discord or email. Thank you most especially, though, as always, to our highest tier of subscribers, our lore masters, Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter OH, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Deli V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elysia U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Collie S, Ilmariel, Paul K, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy, the TCS, Dopamini, Catch It, LNR, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumbaruni, Katia, Josh Liu, Painted PDX, Corey G, Quinch, and always last, Adrian. Thank you all so much, and see you back here soon for music, our second annual Never Mind the Oscars Music crossover episode. Bye.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.